We have a huge issue in this country with education, and I think a lot of people are not really paying attention. First, I'm really passionate about education because I personally know, not even feel, but I know that education, public education, is determined by your zip code. So there's several ways schools get their funding for education. Most of the time, it comes from the property taxes, right? So if you're getting income from the property taxes, naturally, the more expensive the area, the more income the school system is going to get. So if you're in a neighborhood that has homes that are $1 million, let's just say for easy numbers sake, 10% of those funds will be $100,000 that will go into your education fund, right? Obviously, it's not 10%, somewhere between 1 and 3, depending on where you're located. But if you're in a neighborhood that where the homes are $100,000, well, you do the math. So the bigger the price tag on the homes, the better quality of the education. And in addition to that, what also is happening is you are seeing people who don't necessarily make a lot. They can afford certain homes where other people who make more can afford, I'm not going to say better homes, but homes that are in neighborhoods where the public safety is going to be better. More money goes to the police officers. More money also goes, obviously, to the education system. So that's the backdrop. That's just the facts when it comes to education. We're not even talking about bias and all that kind of stuff, because at All Americanish, we don't even get into that stuff. I'm just here to lay out the facts. So you have two different neighborhoods, one where the homes are $100,000, one where the homes are $1 million. Who do you think is going to have more money to offer teachers? And if you're offering more money to teachers, then majority of the time, you're going to get a better quality teacher. You may get a teacher with master's degree. You may get a teacher who has several certifications, different kind of teaching techniques. And I know personally, certain schools that are more resourced than other schools are going to give you more opportunity for clubs like STEM, engineering, AP classes, different kind of civic organizations. And then obviously parents who actually have kids that go to those schools in higher priced neighborhoods are going to also be a little bit more participating, right? So that in itself is just a fact when it comes to education. What people need to do is understand the facts. Now, am I saying that kids who are in neighborhoods that are $100,000 cannot get a good education? No, but you got to put more work in. You got to be at the PTA meetings. You have to be able to lobby for better resources, books, more services, in that particular area versus things that people just are automatically going to listen to people that are in higher price neighborhoods. Why do people say that? Why would you listen to more? But because they're paying more money in taxes. You pay, if you're paying, depending on if it's $1 million neighborhood, you might need $250,000 to qualify. That could be a single income household. That could be a 2-person household. But if you're making $250K, you're paying a crap load more money than taxes. Sometimes, unless you got a really great tax advisor or tax strategist to help you out, CPA accounting. So let's assume that for all intents and purposes that everyone is paying their fair share and doing what they're supposed to do. Who do you think is going to get a better quality education? So public education as it is now is being dismantled and it's being assaulted. But what that means is that parents have to do more. You cannot be passive in your kids' education. Before, you could just depend, when I was coming up, Gen X, you could just depend on the school system to take care of itself. You can't do that anymore. You have a lot of people who don't even want to be teachers. Recruitment is hard, and they are definitely not trying to participate for low salaries dealing with some of these children. So you have these things, and then you also have Title I schools, who is a whole nother level. And we're going to be talking about this more because the future of your children is going to depend on the education system. And people who have the resources will send their kids to public school for elementary school. But by the time they hit middle school and high school, they're majority of the time they're going to send their kids to private schools. Private schools offer a lot more opportunity than public schools. Now, again, this does not mean that you cannot get access for your kids to have a quality education, but you're going to have to be it on it like never before, especially now. So there's two ways you can go and kind of research the schools to see what's important. One school platform is called Niche. Niche is a great tool for looking at schools. The other one is called Great Schools. Great Schools also is a good way to search and see the rating on schools. Every neighborhood, just because it might be a low income neighborhood, does not have a bad school, and people are moving to areas. So what happens is people who have resources, money, time, inheritance, they move according to school systems. Why? Because they want to make sure that they have the access and options to participate, to have their kids participate with get a quality education. And now more than ever, just recently I was talking to a babysitter of mine, and she said that, Maryland University is a good school. It's a state school, and it's always been a good school. It's not private like a lot of the schools are in certain areas in Washington, D.C., but it's a good quality school. And now more than ever, it's even getting more competitive to get into state schools. So I'm not a person who believes that everyone needs a college degree. I believe that with active parenting and, real effort in your parenting, you don't necessarily have to go to college. There's so many programs now that you can take certifications. Before, when they had trade programs, it's easy for you to make six figures without even having a college degree. So I'm not one of those people who say the smartest people went to college, because trust me, I've managed over 100 people in my professional career, and everybody who went to college and everyone has a master's degree is not the smartest. That is taught. Intellect is problem solving. It's your ability to be quick on your feet. It's the ability to relate with people and to be able to get stuff done. That does not necessarily mean a piece of paper. But I do think what we need to do now as all American citizens is really start to look at, put our effort behind how we're going to educate our kids. Some of that may be public school. Some of that may be homeschooling for people who have time. Some of that may be charter schools. But I think the first step is to figure out what your plan is and look at the school system in your area. I know people who literally, they know the enrollment cycles before they even have their children. They time when they're going to get pregnant and when they could deliver so they can enter into the school system. Because a lot of the schools who are public schools, they have preference to siblings. And then some school systems, they do have pre-K3 and pre-K4, but pre-K3 is kind of going away now just because that's the way that the states can actually cut budgets. So a good exercise for you is to go on greatschools.com, go on niche.com, and see how your school system within your county ranks, and start looking strategically at where you may want to move or how you want to get involved in your school, because you can live in a low income area. I did, and get an amazing quality education, but it was a different time. Now it's different than when I grew up. It was years ago. I just want to make sure that you are really being intentional, because gone are the days when we can just be passive about how our kids are going to be educated. It really is an effort, and it is a plan. And if you don't plan, your kids can end up in situations that are going to really keep them held back. And so that's not the goal. The goal is to be intentional about your children's education. It's something that I think is very important to me. I know that intellect and a quality education is the great leveling of the playing field. And I think when you are just smart and gifted and charismatic, which is a whole nother issue, something that I'm really passionate about, is people and parents not really getting activated and having play dates for their children, but just being so focused on, I got to go to work, I got to come home, I got to go to work, I got to come home, repeat and rinse every day. What that's doing is you're raising kids who have low to no social skills. And what I know to be true, and again, managing a ton of people, interacting with thousands of people in my professional career, is I was able to get further, just not necessarily because of where I came from, but my ability and to interact and engage people in a way that they felt comfortable with. Communication is key. You learn that through other people and your interaction with other people. And that starts early. It does not start when you're 25 because then you're just weird. It literally starts when you're 2. So that's the second thing that I want to challenge parents to do, and not just parents, but aunties as well. Take your kids, take your nephews, take your godchildren, take them to a play date, take them to a facility, a play facility, but get them socialized, getting them used to interacting with other people and engaging other people is going to be a key factor in their development and in their future. The more you know. Have a blessed day.